Christ is king, it's where we belong. Stay with the dream, don't lose your way. Right way's the fire that'll light the day. Keep it simple, let the moment arrive. 3-8 trap keeps the hope alive. Hold on tight till the signal's near. Right way's the trail, we're breaking through fear.
Good morning, fellow traders. This is Doug Campbell with Right Way Options, and this is the morning market prep video for November 24th, 2025. Well, I hope everyone had a restful weekend, ready for another crazy wild week in the market. Let's take a look at what we have going on overnight. First off, if we take a look at Asian markets, had quite a mix last night in Asian markets. While we saw Hong Kong zooming up 496.48 or 1.97%, the Nikkei fell 1,198.06, 2.40%. We saw Australia up 108.60, 1.29%. We saw South Korea down $7.20, 1.19%. I'll get it said. Then let's see, we've got India down 108.65 or 0.42%, and Shanghai up $1.87, 0.05%. If we take a look at European markets here this morning, European markets are feeling a bit more bullish, with the DAX at the moment up 86.60 or 0.38%. The FTSE is up $13.95 or 0.15%. If we take a look at CAC is lower by $13.96 or 0.17% here this morning. Let's take a look at U.S. futures. U.S. futures this morning, the Dow at the moment is slightly lower by $27. We've got S&P 500 futures up by $14.50, and the NASDAQ futures are trying to get the zoomies going again here this morning, currently up $116.50 here at the moment. Let's take a look at what's going on in those bond markets here this morning. Bond markets are moving lower. We've got the 2-year bond right now at 3.51%. The 10-year bond is coming in at 4.05%, and that 30-year bond is at 4.16%, moving to the downside. If we take a look at the U.S. dollar, however, dollar is pulling back just slightly here this morning. Nothing major, but a little bit of a pullback from that resistance high here in the chart. Right now, the dollar is down 10, almost 11 cents here this morning. So keep an eye on the dollar. Now, how's that affecting our precious metals here this morning? Well, interestingly enough, right now our metals are moving a little bit lower. We have gold at the moment down, let's see, $13 even on gold, moving just a little bit lower here, $13 an ounce, $4,066.40 an ounce. Silver this morning is also just slightly lower. We've got silver futures down at the moment 16 cents at 49.75 an ounce. And then if we take a look at copper, copper is a little bit lower here this morning, but only by 3 cents this morning. This is obviously not copper. This is a copper miner, but keep an eye on copper. Platinum, on the other hand, is just slightly higher, $7.90 higher, or 0.52%. And palladium is higher by $4.70 or 0.41% here this morning. Now, taking a look at cryptos are still having a rough time here. Bitcoin falling this morning, right now down $1,400 and 350, excuse me, just ticked 71, 1.57%. If we take a look at Ether is, whoops, can't type this morning. Ether is down $30.01 a coin, 1.06%, and Solana is down $3.37 or 2.54% here this morning. Right now, crypto's down across the board. If we take a look at oil stocks here this morning, we've got oil futures looking a little bit lower here today. Boy, I cannot type this morning. Take a couple of days off and I can't type in symbols, I guess. If we take a look at U.S. futures on oil right now, oil at the moment down, and we're coming in at 57.87 a barrel here this morning. Brent crude is coming in at 62.34, and we have natural gas down almost 7 cents here this morning. So keep an eye on UNG. So what does all that mean for the day? Well, how about we settle in? Let's buckle up. Let's get ready for the Monday edition of the Morning Market Prep video. Good morning once again, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. I very much appreciate it. Hey, I just thought I would let you know there will not be a morning prep video tomorrow. I have to go in early for a little medical procedure. It's no big deal, nothing to be worried about, but I will be out the day for tomorrow. Wednesday should be a normal day, and then just remember we're closed Thursday and Friday for the holiday, so there will be no morning prep video on Thursday or Friday as well. Let's take a look at these index charts and see if we can figure out how we might want to approach the market for today. Let's take a look here at the diamonds. Remember, we want to shake off any bias. We want to look at the charts for what they are and what they, not what we want them to be. Remember, it's that bias that gets us into trouble. We start predicting, we start doing all kinds of things, and then we end up getting trapped in positions that really shouldn't have been there. Now, if we take a look here at the diamonds, we're kind of stuck between a range. We've got a pretty strong area of price resistance over the top of that. Let me change the color on that so it's a little bit easier to see. We've got a pretty strong resistance across there. We've also got a pretty good area of support. You can see down below these little tails an area we have held down in that range. So if the bulls can find inspiration this morning, then let's look for a test of this resistance up here. And if we can break through that, probably more significantly would be breaking through the high of that big black candle. If we can break through there, I think we have a chance of pushing up here toward that next resistance here in the chart. So watch that carefully. Now, if the bears were to have anything to say and we were to push on down in here, well, I think it's pretty clear the support in this area is going to be somewhere around there or right on through here. Now, I think if we break this big black candle to a new low, we're probably going to worry a bit here in the market. And I think that could take us down into this area of price support. And I think it gets a little bit ugly if we drop down below there, so watch that carefully. Now, if we take a quick look at moving averages, you can see that big black candle here that I was talking about, that's going to be a retest of the 50-day moving average. That's going to be pretty critical here. Notice our short-term averages are starting to squeeze in on that 50, so we could start to be putting, we might see a little bit of a challenge up there breaking back through that level. Now let's take a look at our SPY. kind of the same situation, but this morning we're trying to gap through, get back above this area of price resistance in the chart, which would be a good thing here for additional relief rally. If the bulls can push on through there, I think it's going to be critical whether or not we can break through this area right here with all of these wicks up above. See if we can break through there and then start moving our way back up through these next areas of price resistance in the chart and back up toward this fairly strong resistance and of course that downtrend in the SPY. Now if the bears were to have anything to say and we were to push back, first there's probably a little bit of support right through there, a little bit of price action support right in there that we could hold. If we were to break on lower here though and break down below this candle, I think there's a chance we test this area again and possibly even a failure there is where the real worry would probably come up in the market. So keep an eye on the SPY. Now remember, right up into here, we've got to get up. I've got to get up past this area here to get past that 50-day moving average. And once again, all those shorter term moving averages are squeezing in on that 50, providing a little bit of additional resistance up there. QQQ, very much the same thing. We're trying to get a little bit more going here today in the pre-market on the Qs, but at the moment they're actually fading back. So watch that carefully. Popping up into this area of price resistance here in the pre-market, pulling back from that. If the bulls can shake that off, every reason to believe they could, if they shake that off, then we might push right on up and test this stronger area of price resistance in the chart. So watch that carefully here on the Qs. Now if the bears were able to have anything more to say, I think this is going to be fairly critical because we did break that low in here on this candle as we push this on down. So holding this area here of support could be critical. If we break all the way back down to retest these lows, I think the market's going to become a little bit worried here. We certainly have those short-term moving averages pressing down here on the QQQ against that 50-day, so watch that carefully. We would have to rally pretty strongly to get up here to that 50-day moving average, so it's certainly possible, particularly on a holiday week like this, as long as that volume holds up. And I'm really questioning whether volume's going to hold up very well because we've had such a problem with breadth anyway in the market. Let's take a look at our IWM. Now IWM, really strong inside day on Friday, pushing up nicely, finding some nice resistance up here. We'll see if we can pop through that. If those bulls have the energy, pop on through there and maybe stretch up toward this next area of price resistance in the chart. So keep an eye on IWM. Probably the best of the bullish moves there on Friday. Now, if the bears were to have anything to say, we could push back, test some of these areas of price support in the chart, still be okay to bounce from there. It would be if we were to break down below that candle right there is where I think we would have some real worry coming into the market. Now, IWM continues to be the weakest of the indexes, well below its 50-day moving average. So watch that closely. All of our short-term averages have already crossed down through that 50-day. So watch this carefully. If we run back up here into this downtrend, and if we find that resistance just too strong, I would look for IWM to potentially fail in that area. Let's take a look at our VIX. Our VIX pulled back on Friday nicely, but it wasn't as much as I think the market would have hoped. Pulled back kind of an inside day in here, still closing 23.5 handles in there, meaning that option prices are still very expensive, bid-ask spreads are still very wide, so watch that carefully. If we can carry on with a little bit more relief rally and those bulls can get that done, let's look for that resting pullback into here. Maybe we can come back into this area of price support Breaking down below there, if we can break below there, then I would look for a comeback in here toward that upside trend. So watch that carefully here in the VIX if we do ease on back. And I think there's every reason to believe that's possible. Now, if the bears were to have anything more to say, and we were really to push here, watch this up here. If we were to break through up here and continue on up toward this recent high over here, I think we're going to raise some concerns, and breaking through that is where getting up there around 30 is really going to add some pressure to the market. So watch that carefully on the VIX. Our T2122 indicator, nice relief rally there on Friday. Good stretch up here, back right around 50%. So what that means here is if the bulls can find inspiration, well, we've got plenty of room for them to move to the upside. We've got about an equal amount for those bears. So it really is going to come down to how we react to any earnings, any data here today. We'll want to be watching that pretty carefully, as anything is possible. Let's take a look at our T2108. Percentage of stocks above the 40-day moving average had a nice little bump back up. Pushing back up toward 35%, wasn't quite able to breach through there. Certainly looks like that possibility we could stretch right on through there, come right back up here to some of these recent highs, just over 40%, before we run into too much resistance, keeping in mind we still have a downtrend in here as well that we're going to have to deal with on T2108. Now, if the bears were to have anything to say and we were to push back, it would be pretty critical if we break back down below these lows. We could start slipping on through into these areas around 20%, and just keeping in mind we can go significantly lower yet here in T2108. T2107, nice little pop back in there on Friday, running into some price resistance here around 45%. Soon anyway, we will be. So watch that carefully whether we can break on through there. If we can, then I would look for a stretch up here to see if we can break through some of this resistance up above, pushing back up toward that 50% here in T2107. If the bears have anything to say, once again, I think it would be pretty crucial if we break that low, pushing down through 40% here again, then we could have some serious ramifications to be looking at here in the market. Our T2101, this continues to be our culprit. What you can see is on that relief rally on Friday, our breadth declined. It didn't have enough energy to bring that breadth to the market, so you can see dark cloud cover here in, not that they really matter that much in T2101, but obviously running into some price resistance here in breadth. We just have not been able to see the bulls put together enough breadth on bullish pushes to be able to really be convincing. So watch that carefully. If we're going to be bullish today, we need to see that breadth really starting to push on through, seeing those bulls really step up. If the bears were to have anything to say in here, same thing is true. We would need to see those bears step up like they did on Thursday in here, pushing things on lower in the market. That's where the problem is our bears seem to be gaining a little bit more energy on the breadth that the bulls have at the moment. So watch that carefully. We need that breadth, and it may be difficult for breadth to do too much here heading in this holiday week. It may be challenging. Remember, we should have pretty solid activity here today and tomorrow, but I would look Wednesday, pretty early on Wednesday, we could see a major fade in volume as everyone starts heading out for those holiday plans. A lot more driving this year as a result of problems at the airports. So kind of keep an eye on that. The getaway day will be Wednesday. Everyone heading out to grandma's house, so watch that carefully. Let's take a look at our economic calendar here for today. And our economic calendar, we've got an interesting week ahead if any of these data points come out. You can see they've already marked a lot of these on the calendar as we're not going to get them. We'll have to wait and see. That it would just be typical for the market to dump these kind of data points out prior to a holiday when a lot of folks aren't paying attention. So this morning, maybe a Chicago Fed national activity report. We'll see. Remember, we had some that were showing us delay last week that actually came out. So they're starting to catch up. We got a Dallas Fed manufacturing number in here this morning. Last time, -5, production was 5.2, so watch that carefully. Maybe we'll start seeing those coming back up. Chicago National Fed, we have no estimates or anything on that. We've got a 3, 6-month, and 2-year note auction here today. Just kind of keeping in mind as you're planning forward, if we were to get these data points, boy, big potential price action reaction could occur with a PPI report here on Tuesday, a retail sales report in there, and then we've got Case-Shiller that's supposed to be out. We've got some home prices. A consumer confidence number would be very important as well. Business inventories, they're saying delayed. We'll keep an eye on that. And then a pending home sales, along with some bond auctions in here to be paying attention to. So busy week of some big market moving data if it does occur. So plan carefully. Let's take a look at what we've got going on in our earnings calendar here for today. Pretty light. We really only have one notable report here for this morning. We got BLDB here, Bluebird, will be reporting this morning. It looks like we're getting a nice pop here this morning on that. Well, maybe not. Just dancing around here quite a bit. So keep an eye on Bluebird here today. That's really the only notable for this morning. If we take a look at this afternoon, we have Allegiant that will be reporting in here. We got CENT, FLNC, Keys, SMTC. We're going to hear from SYMB, WWD, and Zoom Mobile will be reporting this afternoon. So keep that in mind. The rest of this week, a big retail theme in reports here. So keep that in mind. A lot of retail this week. Let's take a look at some stocks that could be setting up for today. But before we do that, everyone, if you could do me that quick favor, if this is the first time you've seen these videos, please click that subscribe button on YouTube. Also click that bell icon when it pops up so you'll be notified every time I post a video. Thank you so much for everyone who does take the time to do that. Heck, I know everyone has got bigger plans in mind this week, thinking about getting gone for your holiday plans. I understand that, but thank you so much for everyone who takes the time to do that. I truly appreciate it. Let's take a look at a few stocks that could be setting up. Remember, everyone, these are not recommendations to buy or sell any security. You need to do your own due diligence and be very, very careful in this market, remembering that the volatility is pretty high. Bid-ask spreads are wide. Challenging price action is not out of the question. And we're as long as that breadth remains the way it is, we could see pretty substantial whipsaws, intraday whipsaws. So be prepared for that as we move forward here. Let's take a look at some of these stocks. First off, let's take a look at Apple. I got to tell you, Apple's just holding right in there. There really is no major issue or problem here with Apple. So if you really like those tech giants, keep an eye on Apple here. Nice pop there on Friday. Every reason to believe that could stretch on higher here. Watch that closely in Apple. And Google is pretty much undeniable as the winner right now in big tech, showing lots and lots of strength, pushing back up, really starting to stretch here again. So keep an eye on Google. That's having a good time here overall. Take a look at a few other areas here in the market. Take a look at Barrick Mining. Now, Barrick Mining, those miners have been struggling here just a little bit lately because of the pullback in precious metals. But take a look at Barrick. Nice little resting consolidation in here. It doesn't seem like it wants to move down at all. If that buying follows through with on Friday, there may be a reason to be keeping an eye on Barrick. You know, when we take a look at things like okay, just a second. When we take a look at some of these stocks, sorry, I got had a little bit of problem with my TC2000, had to restart it. If we take a look here, we have little bit of a down trend going on here in GDX. So when you're looking at these miners, make sure you take a real close look at them, being really careful here, because I do see the chance that Newmont may be able to push right up from here, from this price support, and just as easily be pushing down here to continue on lower. So keep an eye on some of these miners. But there are those out there that are still looking really pretty good in that mining sector. So watch that carefully. Let's take a look at Fold here. Fold continues to be a very bullish upside trend. Nothing wrong with that chart at all. Staying really strong to that upside. Little resting pullback in here, holding on to that support. Little bullish action coming in there on that one on Friday, so watch for that opportunity that could extend on higher here in Fold. PAGS, interesting little chart, a lot of choppiness in here with big old bearish candle, tried to shake it off there on Friday. The reason I like it is that we're holding in here around reasonable support. We've got this upside trend going on in here. All we need is that little kick of bullishness in here, and then we might stretch through this resistance, pushing on through to the upside. Keep a close eye on that. Boy, I got to tell you, some of the defensive sector stocks are really starting to come back to the upside. Take a look at Kroger in here. Breaking through up here would be a great start here for Kroger to really start stretching back to the upside. Nice little push on Friday, pushing up in here, holding that higher low in here. Just get through that resistance. We've got something going maybe in there. Notice we're back above that 50-day moving average, trying to deal with that 200. But I'll tell you, there's some others out there that are looking quite strong. Take a look at Coke. Coke, beautiful move on Friday, big stretching move in that defensive sector. Any rest or pullback in there, I think, could set up an opportunity. Coca-Cola, watch that. If we take a look at PepsiCo, PepsiCo could be setting up in another wedge pattern here. If we have follow-through bullishness here on this, watch for that potential push through that downtrend in here. We'll have to still get through that resistance, but we're coming around here on PepsiCo. Take a look at things like Campbell's Soup. Campbell's Soup coming up, trying to break through this downtrend here in the long-term downtrend here on Campbell's, trying to hold that higher low. Watch that carefully. If that can break through that downtrend, I always require this, break through the downtrend, hold the higher low, And then I think you may have some opportunities there in CPB worth paying attention to. Things like KHC. It's also been coming around, broke through the downtrend here, as you can see, rallying back up in that chart. I think there's an opportunity that we could see this continue that move on higher here as well. Nice little rest and hold in here. Tried to see some buyers on Friday. Watch carefully if that pushes on through here on KHC. Take a look at things like Monster have been staying very, very strong here in the market, continuing to stretch up. Look for that opportunity with just this little resting consolidation in here, that may start moving on through here to the upside as well. I got to mention things like AT&T. Just about bought AT&T on Friday, decided I would give it the weekend. Watching that carefully, coming back around here. This is not the defensive sector, but it is that big, strong dividend pair here that really starts to attract attention during market turmoil. So watch that carefully. We're trying to deal with that 50-day moving average here in AT&T, but I would keep an eye on that. TMUS has been trying to hold a higher low in here as well, and you can take a look at Verizon. That's also trying to deal with this downtrend and may see that push through to the upside. And there are plenty of others in here as well. Take a look at Hershey making that move. Take a look at Colgate, nice little higher low, breaking through this downtrend in here, showing bullishness. I would look at Colgate. Clorox has just got something going on Friday. Needs a little bit more time in there. But as you can see, we're seeing some of these old boring stocks, Mondelez, Constellation Brands, had something going on in there on Friday. We may be starting to see a little bit of a rotation into that defensive sector, so I would keep a pretty close eye on those. Take a look at Lowe's now. Lowe's defied Home Depot with a pretty good report, breaking through some downtrend in here as well. Any rest consolidation in here, I think, sets up an opportunity in Lowe's. Back to more of that defensive side, take a look at Philip Morris. Philip Morris breaking through the downtrend. Little inverted head and shoulders pattern setting up in there. You can see that higher low coming up. Nice little rest and consolidation. Good, strong dividend pair worth paying attention to. And of course, Altria the same. Been moving back up in here, still trying to deal with this price resistance in the chart. If that gets a little bit of a pop, we've got a nice gap up here that could be filled. Nice percentage gain in that gap. So keep an eye on that if some of those defensive sector stocks start coming back around. So with that, everyone, hey, I want to wish you all a fantastic day. I want to wish you great results in your trading. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for the kind support. I do apologize I can't be here tomorrow. It's going to be an all-day thing tomorrow. So I will be gone. There will be no morning market prep. You guys take care. Be safe. I'll see you right back here bright and early Wednesday morning. I wish you all of the best. Make sure plan carefully, trade wisely this week. We could see very anemic volume starting to occur soon. So plan that carefully. Take care, everyone.
Black and white candles, my stars in the dark. Price is my king, got that fire and spark. Rideways my ranch on the trader's trail. Trading with heart where the profits prevail.